come to order. Council, do we have any changes to the agenda this evening?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to suggest that we add an item to the agenda. I guess I'll call it the first item, which would be for discussion on the Sheriff's Department's contract. The manager sent some information to us today about some evidently decisions that we need to make tonight around that contract, even though we previously provided some direction around that.
Okay.
So that's one item. And the second item is, do we have anybody signed up for the second public comment session tonight? Yeah. Okay. I just make a recommendation we cancel that because we'll have an opportunity to hear from the public, before we get into our budget discussion.
Okay, is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, second. And in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, thanks. All right, so then that means this came in late this afternoon, and the attorney is requesting input from council regarding the Sheriff's Department. I guess they looked at the numbers more closely, and right now we have, Faith is budgeted at our request $500,000 for next year, but they think they may go over to the tune of about $17,000. So they're asking either that we increase the contract now, tonight, or let it stay as it is, but with some kind of a written assurance that if they go over, we'll increase it with a budget amendment.
So can I ask a question to Matthew? What are they really looking for from us in terms of, I know we've already provided direction around putting $500,000 in the budget, but what additional assurances do they require or need from this council to?
So at this point, my understanding from our attorney is that they are looking for something in writing saying that we would agree to cover the $517,091 or up to that amount. And then there was some information that, and I put that in the email to you, from their attorney, basically saying that going forward, if by June 15th of the expiring fiscal year, the parties are unable to agree on an annual payment amount for the immediately upcoming fiscal year, then the agreement would terminate on June the 30th of the expiring fiscal year. I think that they're trying to make sure that we are giving them some sort of assurance that we have the same amount budgeted that they have requested to cover what they believe is the amount that they need.
Okay.
So since we have by June 15th to,
Jose?
since we have by June 15th to give something in writing, can we delay this until we have additional time to talk about it?
That language will be in the contract going forward. I think they are looking for some information from us soon. And they're trying to figure out their budget as well.
So are we going to get an actual contract then, a new contract?
Yes, and that
Okay.
draft is what I did include in the email.
Okay, I'm just
And
looking at it now, yeah.
Rob is still working on that, but I think that
Okay.
they indicated that they were in agreement that every one of Mr. Brown's changes were fine. They didn't have a problem with that. They did go through the edits. Number one, let's see here. The gentleman who does the fleet management for them, Heath and I have updated Section 7 regarding the town's financial obligations by removing the items we agreed not to build a town for. Their fleet manager has also updated the list of existing vehicles purchased with town funds, and I added a proposed sentence to Section 1 regarding the duration and term to address what would happen if the town and the county cannot come up with an agreement in future years to the budget amount. And he said, based on your assurances, and we have not assured them of anything, but we told them that we needed some direction from the board. I think he's trying to say there that if you would agree to put something in writing saying that, we would not go over the 517,091, then they would go ahead and get the agreement ready for execution at the June meeting if we need to.
And do we have time, what's the timeline to provide them with comments on the agreement? I guess that
It's really ongoing. I mean,
Yeah.
we're still operating under the contract we have, but they have indicated that they need 517-091. Mr. Gibson asked a question just before the meeting about where they ended up last fiscal year, and I talked to Faith, and she said it was roughly 503,000. Is that correct? Okay. Just make sure I'm right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with us certainly paying the bill that we owe someone, but at the same time, them coming and saying, this is what we're going to charge you and this is what you're going to pay without any, discussion or conversation about that. I mean, we got that at, 3 o'clock today to say that. So it's just, again, I don't have a problem paying the bill if we have to, maybe I think we would do it that way. Maybe my suggestion would be we'll just do a budget amendment and do that. But that just seems a little, here, do this or else, and this is, an hour before the meeting starts. So that was problematic. But I don't necessarily have a problem with saying we'll leave it where it is, but maybe we'll say we'll pay the bill as it comes in up to a certain amount now.
To your point, we could also add this to the May 19th agenda if it would help. I'm trying to give you some room to consider it. They're just looking for some information from us. Knowing that tonight was our budget meeting, I think they wanted to try to see if we could get to some sort of consensus on where to shake out with the contract. That's all.
I mean, my perspective is we provided direction on the $500,000, and there's good basis and justification behind what that means relative to what we're supporting in the contract and getting for that $500,000. And, they know we're a government entity. We would be responsible if they were to charge more than the $500,000 to make sure that they were paid for what they were owed. But, I will continue to say, at least from my perspective, I hope that they are very focused on how they apply and use their resources, because, as I mentioned at the meeting where we set the direction, basically we're paying for 4.7 FTEs and only 4.2 is required, so we're basically giving them half a person credit for what they need in the way of support staff to fill in when folks are on vacation or whatever. And the final thing I'll say, it's always been my experience that if you set a number, the entities can, I'm out of time, the entities can, get to that number that you set. So, my thing is $500,000 is where we're at. We're, we've been good partners. There's no reason to believe that we're not going to be responsible for paying our bills, but I would charge them or challenge them to be good stewards of how they deploy their resources and, help us to make that budget mark number work for both parties.
Okay, so how do we feel? You want to?
I agree on staying at the 500,000, but I still, like Councilman Westmoreland, there's been some ongoing uncertainties over the last couple of years about that. I feel like we just need some more direction in regards to the services.
So, my recommendation would be that we're at, we effectively have already directed that we're going to budget $500,000, that they shouldn't have any uncertainty that if that number's exceeded, that the town's not going to be responsible for paying our bills, but that we do, challenge them to make sure that they're responsible with how they use the money and try to make that mark based off of where we're collectively at and what we've directed. And, I don't know that we need to do anything additional other than just to say, here's where we're at, and we'll be responsible for paying the bills if we receive additional billing from you.
Well, it looks like they're asking for something in writing. I don't know if that's a formalization of this contract or a letter. I didn't think that was.
Who's asking for something in writing? Is that coming from the sheriff?
their
Is that
attorney
coming
is-
from
Their
the attorney?
Attorney.
Is asking for some sort of acknowledgement or guarantee that we would cover the difference if they exceeded the $500,000 figure.
Is there some legal requirement that we have to do that under the existing contract?
I think that they would probably come back and say that they can only guarantee a certain level of service for that amount of money. So we can send Rob back to the negotiating table and say, we'll cover up to 500,000, you need to let us know what services need to
Exactly.
be cut to meet that amount.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is what we've been asking for all along.
Okay,
That's fine. I will let Rob know. Is that the general consensus of the board?
yes. I don't see why not. I mean, I think Councilwoman Glanville still is probably at where she's at, and
It might
My
be,
opinion
I'm
on this
sort
hasn't
of-
changed
yeah,
in
that's
2
right.
years, so.
if we want to memorialize that in a vote, we could do that as well.
That's
I'd
fine.
like some clear direction on what to tell the town attorney.
so I would make a motion that we effectively tell the county attorney that, we have budgeted $500,000 this year, and that's our number, and if the sheriff's department, needs more, we would have to understand from them what they would have to cut, maybe is a good way to put it, our services to be reduced to get down to our $500,000 number, because that's where we're at.
All right, sounds like a motion. Do
Second.
I have a second?
I mean, if it's a motion, I second. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, finding out what it is that, I don't want to say we're going to cut something without knowing what it is in terms of services. So if we find that out, that would help us make a decision. But at this time, I support what we're proposing.
Okay. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, sounds good. Let's see who we've got on our list for public comments.
Cookie Billings.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And I will begin with the end in mind. I suggest Council follow the guidance of the experienced staff in adopting the 26-27 budget, and then with some professional guidance, prepare a survey of citizens, Jamestown tax-paying citizens, coming in the coming year to determine the value citizens place on the services we receive and educate the community on the costs of not just operations, but maintaining facilities and equipment. Don't allow a few people to use blogs or social media to spread woefully inaccurate information and opinions. Adopt the budget recommended now and go to work to educate the community and take command of the word, of sharing the history and truth about what it costs to provide outstanding Jamestown services and prepare for future with vision. Town managers and finance officers must have not just the right education, but continuing education in local government. They need wisdom, vision, and most of all, courage, and our staff has this. I remember taking Institute of Government classes and year-long, year-round courses, and a serious comment was made to one of my classes by one of our instructors at one time. And he said, if you want to be a town manager, you need to have at least 6 months of go-to-hell money in the bank, because your manager and your finance officer need to stand up, and they need to require courage. They must deliver hard messages to the council and their communities, and we don't shoot messengers. Town councils are also required to exhibit wisdom, study, and learn about local government practices and laws. And they also must have vision and courage. You cannot be a responsible council member if you kick the can down the road. I have seen olden days in Jamestown where wonderful investments were made in many types of improvements and facilities to benefit the citizens. But sometimes the vision to prepare for change or even maintenance failed to be put in place. In the early 1980s, I learned that the source of Jamestown water to allow major neighborhoods to be developed from the 40s to the 80s was from the Oakdale Cotton Mill Lake. As the town grew, the water supply was supplemented by a connection to the city of High Point, and the town depended on purchasing water from High Point as well as Oakdale Cotton Mill. The town did not have a secure source of clean water and were at the mercy of a local business and another city. In the 80s, the town was given an opportunity to participate in the Randleman Dam. And believe me, I spent a lot of time fighting on the council to get the money to do it, but well worth it. I'm going to ask for
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Capes.
All right, folks. I don't speak as a representative of the town council. I mean, let's try that again. Of the local planning board. I do speak as a former member of the council. I speak as a citizen of Jamestown. There are a few things that come to mind right now, not the least of which is when it comes to dealing with good planning and the ability to recognize that just what happened earlier as far as let's get the legal team to go back to the sheriff's department and have that conversation costs money. You're looking at a difference of $17,000 to figure this out. You're going to spend a few $1,000s in the discussion just to make that happen, which is not only going to put a bad taste in the relationship with the sheriff's department, but oh, by the way, it's also going to cost the town money. So that 17 grand is now ballooning because of that one direction. Make a decision, okay? The point of leadership is to lead bravely. It isn't a popularity contest. It is not meant to say, oh, I said no, therefore everybody still likes me. It's not meant to worry about what's going to go on your website. It's about trying to understand what it takes to be a good steward of Jamestown, okay? This is about being a fiduciary and having fiduciary responsibility to the town. Now, you can say what you want to about the previous council or the one that I sat on for 3 terms, but the bottom line is this, the work was done, okay? You had D.R. Horton as a development that's now just starting to take root. Down the road, we'll have tax revenue. But we're not there yet. We still need to have infrastructure that's going to support that. It's not there yet, okay? You want to go revenue neutral. Revenue neutral is a do-nothing strategy, okay? It means we don't want to make a decision. It's kicking the can. Failing to plan is planning to fail. And if you think $20,000 monitors versus taking care of your town employees, both in front of me and behind me, you are making a ginormous mistake. You've got to take care of the people in the town. You've got to take care of the people that do the heavy lifting. You've got to take care of the people that you ask to get you information. And whether or not you like the information you get, you have to take care of them. If you're not doing these things, you're not taking care of Jamestown. You're not taking care of your town. The purpose of being on council is not a popularity contest. We're not going to the prom. We're not trying to figure out, okay, who's going to like this? I'm sure you've heard from 50 or 60 people. I'm sure they had a lot to say. There are several thousand people in this town. There'll be several thousand more in the near future. I encourage you, I beg you, please take that into account. It matters. What you're doing here is not just, does this look good right now? This is about, am I taking care of the people? Not just the ones that are, that voted you into office, but all the people, the employees, the people that speak out, the ones that don't want to speak, the ones that are like, I don't want to talk to them because I'm going to get attacked on Facebook or other websites, okay? I've been called every name in the book. My parents were married. I'm not worried about it. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Robert Frederick.
I don't have a prepared speech, but what I do have is something I'd like to read from Jamestown's Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. This is what people typically do when they budget. They look at last year's budget. They say, okay, what's changed? What do we need to prioritize? And let's look at next year's budget. It says here in the financial highlights section, at the close of the current fiscal year, the town's government funds reported an ending fund balance of $8.1 million, an increase of $1.7 million in the fund balance. That's $1.7 million more into Jamestown's savings account. So when I hear all this talk of revenue neutral or keeping things the same, I think, gosh, that means you'd put, if everything else stayed the same, the fire department budget didn't go up, if the Guilford County Sheriff's Department budget didn't go up, if the town staff is getting a COLA as well as a merit pay increase, you'd still have, if none of those things were happening, if revenue streams weren't changing because of the reassessment, if nothing else was happening, a revenue neutral stream would mean that you'd still put this year $1.7 million away in Jamestown's bank accounts. Right? If nothing else changed, if it was revenue neutral, 1.7 million would go into the bank. Now, that's 28% more than the fund balance had been, and it was 28% additional in 1 year. That was last year. And last year's council, before they got these numbers, still approved a 3-cent increase to the tax rate. So if everything else that I mentioned before didn't change, your $1.7 million figure going into the bank account would be even higher. So revenue neutral seems to be the least of what you can do. The least. And if the 1.7 number figure is higher, then you have the money to pay for the extra amount for staff getting their merit increases. You have the money to do the sheriff's contract, the fire department, all of these other things. You just won't be able to put $1.7 million or more into the fund balance. You'll have to reduce that amount. Jamestown has a history of over-budgeting and underspending year after year after year. And now there's $8.1 million in the fund balance. $2 million of it is restricted. So it's okay. You can keep the same amount, but you don't need to add a whole lot more. Thank you.
Nobody else signed up.
Okay. Let's see, well, before we dive in, thank you all for your comments. I want to first of all thank the council. I know that the town manager got a chance to thank the staff last budget session. These guys have worked incredibly long hours. I mean, I've never worked so hard in my life. I never thought a volunteer would work 24/7, basically. But it's been interesting, and I'm so proud to be associated with the people up here. We reviewed revenue projections, we examined expenses, we studied property taxes, and at the last work session, the town manager presented his preliminary budget for the upcoming fiscal year, and council responded with reductions of about $400,000. Since then, we've continued gathering information, looking at other towns, talking to a lot of people here in our town. We've had a lot of one-on-one discussions, and as a result, we've come up with some more reductions, which you'll hear soon. But the property tax reevaluations added an extra layer of challenges this year, and however, one thing we can be so thankful for is to have our own city manager on council, former city manager, who has brought a wealth of knowledge and experience and expertise to this process, especially with respect to budgeting and tax percentages and understanding how it all works together. In fact, he's done such a great job of breaking it all down, and I wish so bad that everyone could hear this, the things that you've taught us, that I even bought a podcast microphone with my own money, and I'm going to sit down with you and we're going to kick something off so people can submit questions directly and you can help educate the rest of us here. And it just helps sometimes to know more of what's behind the what's, whys, and hows. But for now, though, I think you might want to use this tiny little microphone there and say something to us this evening. So.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that. I think, like you mentioned, it's been an effort, level of effort on behalf of the council members here, and certainly more importantly on behalf of the staff team. I think, we've had individual conversations around the budget. The one thing that remains a common denominator with all of us is our love for Jamestown and our efforts to want to continue to provide the highest level of service to the community at the lowest cost. And, you know, we understand, I think, dynamically what the manager is looking to do with his preliminary budget. I think we have some differences of sort of direction that we want to provide tonight, you know, relative to the manager and to the staff team, just so we can, you know, move forward with the budgeting process and sort of look towards May the 19th. So with that, tonight I'd like to respectfully make a motion again for the town manager to provide direction to the town manager and the staff team for the upcoming fiscal year 26-27 preliminary budget, so we can schedule again our public hearing for the 19th. The first item that we would like to put in the motion is to establish the town's FY 26-27 property tax rate at 51.63 cents per 100 valuation. While that number is 2.93 cents more than the revenue neutral rate that's been projected by the manager or provided by Guilford County, it's required to fully fund the Pinecroft Sedgefield Fire Department's FY 26-27 budget request and to support their continued contract operations with the town. The second item in the motion is we will fund all nonprofits next year at the same level that we did for FY 25-26 and support the new request from NC Fusion. So I know there was at least one nonprofit that had requested more money last year, and I think we made some adjustment at the initial budget session a couple of weeks ago, but we're taking everybody back down to the 25-26 levels. Third, we want to eliminate the new $627,165 general fund expense line item in the manager's proposed budget entitled Reserve for Future Expenditures. Fourth, we're proposing to modify the proposed staff salary increase to just a 3% COLA to be more in line with other regional governments. And then fifth, we want to delay the implementation of the AIM water meter project by 1 year to obtain additional details on the project and to reduce the proposed FY 26-27 water rate increase back to 7.5%. So that's the motion.
Discussions?
Can I get number 4 again, please?
Number 4 was to modify the proposed staff salary increase to a 3% COLA to be more in line with other regional local governments.
What should that be?
A 3% COLA.
3% COLA, no merit?
No merit, a 3% COLA. So I've made a motion, probably need to get a second to the motion before we have discussion.
Without a second, it dies. Is there a second?
How long do we have before we can let it die? Huh?
Or you can let it die and continue your conversation. You don't need to feel like you need to do it. Maybe restate it.
I think it would be helpful to get that information that was plugged in and presented and see what that ends up looking like. And I guess we can, I don't want to say second yet, but I guess we can, but just so that we can get that information and say, okay, where are we with that? Where does that take us? And then kind of make some decisions there about what we can, if there's anything else we need to do, what we need to adjust or put back or what have you. But I think it would be helpful to have that, obviously prior to the 19th.
Yeah, and I think, Jim, I just so I understand, is the motion to see what happens with that direction?
The motion is to provide the direction to the town manager, basically to update the current preliminary budget to reflect
And see what that looks like?
those 5 items and have that as the preliminary budget that will be presented on May the 19th.
When would we get that updated budget?
It would be probably by Friday the 15th. That's going to be our goal at this point.
And that would provide us some information on what some of those individual things would cost as well, I guess.
Well, and how it would impact even maybe the tax rate. I mean, we don't know without seeing all of the.
Well, they'd have to run all the numbers. I think what it would end up doing is, effectively, right now in the proposed budget, the way that it's been developed, with what we started off with, the current tax rate being multiplied by the new valuation number. And now I think we're down to like 61 cents, like 28% tax increase. With the new proposal and the direction that we're providing to the manager, my forecast is that, we can still do what we do in terms of providing a very high level of service to the community, the capital projects that we want to do. But what it will mean is, instead of generating a $627,000 budget surplus that would flow into fund balance next year, the balancing will have to be done with unappropriated fund balance to make up the difference, like we've done in prior years from the review of the town's audit statements.
Well, we'll just go ahead and second it and see what it looks like.
Is that a second? Okay. Shall we vote?
Yes?
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion passes. So thank you.
And seeing that we have no additional item, I would make a motion to adjourn.
All right, second?
A second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, opposed? Thanks, we're adjourned.